Round 13 of the ANZ Championship passed off in Brisbane, with the New South Wales Swifts looking to take the scalp of another top 4 contender, the Queensland Firebirds. The Thunderbirds hit the court in Adelaide against the Northern Mystics after their bye round, and it was top versus bottom on the ANZ Championship ladder. The late game on Sunday was the match of the round, with the third-placed Melbourne Vixens on Kiwi soil to take on the defending champions Waikato Bay of Plenty Magic. And Monday night netball rolled into Porirua with the Central Pulse taking on the Tactix, while Perth was the host to the final match of the round with the West Coast Fever taking on the Southern Steel. So let's check out all the action. The Queensland Firebirds were at home for the final time in the minor round against the giant-killing New South Wales Swifts in Brisbane. The home side got out to a flyer in the opening quarter and pushed out to a 16-8 lead at the first change. The Firebirds dominated on attack with Romelda Aiken and Natalie Medhurst having it all their own way. The Swifts fought back in the second quarter, and while they managed to trim the margin by just one goal to trail 23-30 at the long break, they still looked every chance of causing an upset. It was a stunning third period by the Swifts, with a 16-11 quarter leaving the match in the balance heading into the final 15 minutes. The Firebirds led 41-39 at the final change. The Swifts had their chances in the final quarter, but the Firebirds stuck tough to grind out an important 52-48 victory over the Swifts to secure their second ever ANZ Championship finals appearance.
We had a really good start, something that we wanted to have, but obviously a bit disappointing letting the Swifts get back into the game. They're definitely a team that you don't want to let them back into the game, especially coming off the performance they had against Vixens last week. So good start from us, but I think we're up by 10 at one stage. To let that slide is a little bit of a concern, so it's something that we'll definitely have to have a look at.
The Adelaide Thunderbirds were at home in an important round 13 clash against a Mystics side with nothing to lose. While it was 1 versus 10 on the ladder, there was a lot riding on the result as the Thunderbirds needed the win to claim the minor premiership. The Mystics stunned the home side in the opening 15 minutes, with Bailey Mears unstoppable under the post, helping the visitors to a 15-9 quarter-time advantage. The Thunderbirds stemmed the flow in the second quarter, but only pulled the margin back by 1 goal. An upset looked on the cards at half-time, with the Mystics leading 28-23 and the Thunderbirds seemingly with no answers in defence. The ladder-leading Thunderbirds stormed back in the third quarter, finding greater access to Carla Borrego, and the introduction of Kate Shimon helped rocket the home side to a resounding 23-12 advantage. It was another total demolition by the Thunderbirds in the final 15 minutes, but the big surprise was Catherine Latu's introduction at goalkeep. But it was the Thunderbirds who ran it home with an impressive 18-8 quarter to claim their first ANZ Championship minor premiership, taking the match 64-48.
We seemed to like, lying down for a half, but look, credit to the Mystics, they played beautifully in that first half and we had no answers. Disappointing, the senior players were just making very uncharacteristic mistakes and they clawed their way back into it, but when we brought Shimo on, she just lifted the whole team and then they rolled out the party tricks to finish off with. So very frustrating, and we've got a lot to work on, but that's a good thing that it's not all smooth just yet.
Claudelands Arena in Hamilton hosted the match of the round, with the Waikato Bay of Plenty Magic taking on the Melbourne Vixens in a rematch of last year's grand final. It was a measured opening 15 minutes, but the home side edged ahead in the closing stages of the period to take a 13-12 quarter-time advantage. It was a high-scoring second period, with both sides having their chances, but it was the Magic who held a narrow 29-26 half-time lead. The Vixens fought back hard in the third quarter, with Tegan Caldwell shooting 10 from 10, edging her side closer to the defending champions at the last change. The Magic looked in command in the final quarter as they pulled further ahead of the Vixens. Liana De Bruin was outstanding all night for the home side as she helped her side to an important 56-51 win over the Vixens.
It was really tough. They've got one of the top defence combinations in the league, so what was great was we showed patience, we had variety, we had the circle edge stuff, we had the off circle edge stuff, so not a bad effort.
The Central Pulse were at home in Porirua against the Tactix in round 13, looking for their 7th win of the season to keep their slim finals hopes alive. The Pulse surprised with the inclusion of Paula Griffin at goal shooter in her first start of the season, and she was on fire in the opening period with 13 from 14. The Pulse dominated the opening stanza, taking the quarter 22-12. It was another high-scoring second quarter, with the Pulse piling on 19 goals to 14, with the long-range passing by both sides a feature of the first half. The home side held a commanding 41-26 lead at the long break. The Tactix came storming back in the third period, picking up some great ball in defence and making the most of their opportunities at the other end to take the quarter 20-16. The Pulse regained the ascendancy in the final 15 minutes to win the quarter by 3 and in the process recording their highest ever ANZ Championship score, winning the match 73-59.
You know, at times, like you said, it was really, really good, especially that first quarter. We pushed through and got away by 10, so that was good. But, you know, just some scrappy things in there. We could have pushed on more, but, you know, I'm pretty happy with the scoreline.
The West Coast Fever were at home in Perth for the last time in 2013, taking on the Southern Steel, who were still an outside chance of making the semi-finals. It was a frenetic opening 15 minutes, but the Fever edged just ahead to a 15-13 quarter-time lead. The second quarter was more of the same, and both sides refused to give an inch, but the home side finished the period better, taking a 34-29 half-time advantage. It was a seesawing third period, with the Fever leading by as many as 8 goals and the Steel as close as 3 goals, but in the end the Fever took a 50-44 three-quarter time lead. A dominant fourth quarter by the Fever helped the home side to probably their most complete performance of the season. The Fever ended the Steel's finals aspirations, taking all 4 quarters and the match 68-56, equaling their most wins in an ANZ Championship season.
We actually kept the ball in our possession this week. It's a simple thing to say, but it's really hard to do, particularly against a quality side. So something we've been talking about a lot this year. We finally put it into practice, and I hope we can take that into next week's game.
So after 13 rounds, the Thunderbirds claimed the minor premiership, and the Firebirds also secured a place in the finals. It was the end of the road for the Steel, who dropped out of the finals race, and while the Pulse kept their slim hopes alive, wins to the Magic and Vixens in round 14 will ensure they play finals netball.